You went to the most Muslim town in England.
Look, that was shocking. It was confronting to go there. There was a Christian preacher. He got kicked out, essentially, of Whitechapel. The key thing that was said to him was, this is a Muslim area and you shouldn't go here. I got mobbed by like 20 Muslim men. Weeks after the Ayatollah had died, there were memorials for him, and I just thought, what is going on?
You've been on some of these far-left protests. What's
Yeah.
the craziest thing you've seen?
Oh my gosh.
Hello and welcome to today's Daily Expresso. I'm joined by TalkTV presenter and host of Triggered with Samara Gill. Samara, welcome.
JJ, great to be here.
We've been trying to get you in for a while, actually, and no one was like, I thought the producer was going to ask you and he thought I was asking you, and then we ended up both messaging you at the same time.
Yeah, it was great. I was getting bombarded. I was like, no one's ever wanted me this much, ever, in any context, so I'll take it.
Right, let's get straight into it, Samara, because you are very outspoken, I would say, when it comes to Islam. So what aspects of it, of Islam and Islamic culture in the West, where is it you feel that it's gone wrong in the Western world?
I mean, it's a good question to start off with.
Thank you.
I think
It's kind of my job.
Yeah, no, well, no, it's true, because I think, we always hear about certain stories, and I feel like the media bombards us with that sort of thing. But when you're out on the streets and kind of doing this more citizen journalism that I've been doing, you do start to see the extremism and how it has actually totally gone into Britain and how it's totally rife on the streets. Now, take Al-Quds Day, for example, which was a really, really intense protest where I got mobbed by like 20 Muslim men. And that was weeks after the Ayatollah had died and or been killed, and there were memorials for him. And I just thought, what is going on? And, there were calls for that protest to be banned. It was made static. But actually, the reality of the situation was that I think the intelligence services wanted it to happen in order to be able to take down the names, faces, whoever was attending, to sort of identify the extremism that was happening. Because I think that Iran is a big issue. It's much bigger than just, these immigrants that are coming in, they're all turning into terrorists. That's a whole other thing that we can talk about, where I actually believe it's much more second generation, third generations that are susceptible to extremism, Islamic extremism. But I think it's very much a more of an issue for the intelligence agencies to deal with, and less of a sort of on the streets problem.
Okay. Well, you went to the most Muslim town in England, correct?
Yes.
Well, where was this, and tell us what happened?
That video was done on such a whim, actually. It's always the way with stuff that goes viral, and it really did go around the world. I was having these, because I'm half Indian, I was having Indian aunties messaging me being like, stay safe, where I am, I'm right, I'm fine, auntie, relax. But look, that was shocking. It was confronting to go there, and it's just around the corner from here, Whitechapel. I think it shows... Well, what happened with that video was that there was a Christian preacher, that's how, and he got kicked out, essentially, of Whitechapel because he was preaching. And the key thing that was said to him was, this is a Muslim area and you shouldn't go here. And that's, I think, where the issue lies. Muslim area. What does that mean in 2026 for Britain? Are there certain no-go zones now for this country where you're just not allowed to practice your religion freely? It was shocking when I went there, because most of the people that I did speak to did believe things like, you should be locked up for criticizing Islam. We should call the police if you say anything against Islam. And it's like, well, we don't have blasphemy laws yet. We don't have Islamophobia laws just yet. And it scares me to think that if we did have those laws in place, what would then happen? Are people going to get locked up? How are those laws going to get used and abused? So, yeah, I think it shows that there is a level of integration that has failed, but I don't think the onus should be just put on the Muslim people of that area. It goes both ways. There's also been a lot of resistance from the other side to integrate properly. I think Australia's done a better job of it.
When you say the other side, what do you mean? I mean,
Anglo-British communities. I think yes, these communities have siloed themselves off, but I think it's because the vast numbers of migration are so big. You know, when my dad came from India to Australia, I think he was one of 9,000 that had come that year. And I think that's a drop in the ocean. And they were able to say, okay, if you're Team Australia, then you're welcome in this country. And all he wanted to do as a first generation immigrant was to be Australian and be like them. And I think he definitely experienced levels of racism, being shunned from society. But overall, he had a decent experience. He went and married my mum, and that whole thing happened. But yeah, I think I think when people talk about mass migration, they don't just talk about, oh, it's horrible that these people are coming in. It's more about the effects that has when it's in big numbers.
So what about places like Denmark, where the government literally stops it from being, okay, this is a Muslim area, and they take a certain number of people out if the quote, I think if it becomes more than 50% of people in one little town or area is not natively Danish, they remove them and put them in other places around and move more Danes into the area, so that they call it a parallel society. Essentially, that's what's going on. So Whitechapel would be an example of a parallel society.
Totally.
But equally, Stamford Hill, which is majority Orthodox Jewish, that would also be classed as a parallel society.
You're right. And that's what I was going to bring up. I think, you know, people would start throwing arms up in the air if we started saying, oh, Golders Green should be, there should be more Anglo-Christian British people in Golders Green. That's when we start to get a little...
Yeah.
It's more that society has facilitated a lot of this, and governments have facilitated a lot of this. So obviously in Whitechapel, you've got the signs on the tube station in Urdu.
Yeah.
And that's when you start to say, okay, now you're actually pandering to the community that's there. And I agree, everyone should be welcome, but that's going a little step too far, in my opinion. You are in Britain. Or do you not think that, JJ?
Well, I think that, but then what about Chinatown? They've got the signs for the streets, and they've also got Chinese lettering on some of the street names as well. Plus, you've got the Chinese lanterns all over it. Now, we can say, well, it's a tourist destination, but all the Chinese restaurants are run by Chinese people. This isn't a place where Chinatown, and here's an Italian, and here's a Bulgarian restaurant, and here's a Polish restaurant. No, it's Chinatown is full of Chinese people.
But the street signs aren't in Mandarin.
They have it in some of the roads. They have it in both. They have the English, and just like in Wales, where you have the Welsh and you have the English together.
Right. Okay. I mean, I didn't know that, actually. So yeah, I mean, that's
you
interesting.
learned something new on this podcast.
This has always been the British way, though, to be so open. I mean, after World War II, they've opened their arms consistently to people, but I think that kindness has been taken for weakness in some sort of way.
Okay.
And I just don't think it's good for either society to vilify each other by closing themselves off from each other. I think that's my issue here. I mean, I'm genuinely I'm an immigrant myself. I'm all in favor of migration, but when you do start to see the effects of that, then you start to see, the consequences. And that's when I talk about these second generation people getting radicalized, because they're disconnected from their parents' culture. They're also not accepted into the country that they were born in, which is another issue. And that can create a real search for identity, belonging, certainty, purpose, and then the radicalization begins.
Right, a quick pause in the podcast to tell you about our sponsor, Incogni. You had those phone calls from numbers you don't recognize, or you go in your inbox and there's emails for stuff you did not sign up for. Well, that's because someone somewhere is selling your private information. That's where today's sponsor comes in. Incogni. They will contact these people who have been taking your information, and they'll say, oi, stop, delete it. Go to the website, incogni.com. You type in the details. 2 minutes later, Incogni are sorting it out for you automatically. And because I love you, I've got you a discount. It ain't 10%, it ain't 20, 60% off. 60% off an annual Incogni plan. Just go to incogni.com/Daily Expresso or click the link in the episode description box below.
When you look at the recent terror attacks, most of them were perpetuated by British-born second-generation people. The 777, Mohammed Sadiq Khan, that was British-born Pakistani immigrants. He led that attack. Hasab Hussein, Pakistani in Leeds, he was the youngest 777 bomber. Salman Abdi, born into Manchester, of Libyan parents, he carried out the Ariana Grande bombing.
Yeah.
And I've got a long list here. You've got other people, Mohammed Boulay, who was Tunisian born. He was one of Europe's most homegrown. He was discussed a lot because he was radicalized in France and then he came over here. So,
but he was born in Tunisia. He wasn't born.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
So
anyway,
what do you think is the problem here? Why are the second and third generation kids turning to or becoming radicalized?
Because of this lack of integration, because communities are siloing themselves off. And I think that the second generation fall somewhere in between those two worlds and then are looking. They also become wistful about the homeland that they never once went to. I mean, to bring back the Al-Quds Day protest that I went on, the shocking thing was that majority of the people there, were not Iranian.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them, I asked them, where have you come from today? What's going on? Where did you grow up? Manchester, Birmingham, London, which is fine. But, they're holding up signs of the Ayatollah and saying, this is our leader.
Yeah.
And I'm talking, by the way, about a very extreme section of society and a small section of society. But then a loud one.
But then, I know so many third generation Caribbean people, whether it's Bahamas, Jamaica, Barbados, whatever. This is not an issue amongst them. And I would say, even with my ancestry, West Africa and Zimbabwe, South Africa, we don't have third generation Zimbabweans in this country who are becoming radicalized into Islam. It seems to be a specific part of the world where these people are coming from.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the Islamic factor is obviously very big, and that's not just done by them saying, oh, I don't know how I feel and I'm just going to turn to Islam. It's actually a concerted effort through Russia, China and Iran who would like to radicalize these people, who use channels, Telegram and such in order to actually get those people radicalized. So they do actually try and find the weakest link, someone who's antisocial, someone who doesn't know what he's doing in life, or she, and then they will try and use, certain influencers, certain preachers in order to give them a guiding light, give them a way. And I think as well, you're seeing a lot of young people in general turn to conservatism.
Yeah.
But that cuts both ways.
Yeah.
It cuts in the way of people going to Christianity, but also people saying, oh, I quite like the ideals of Islam and what it's saying and the way that men are the head of the household and can control, etc. So I think it's all happening in one.
Do you agree with that? That men should be the head of the household?
No.
No, you don't? Oh, feminist, eh?
I mean, to be honest though, like the man as the head of the household is not an Islamic thing. I mean, it happens in this country all the time. People talk about family voting as if it's some sort of new phenomenon that's been brought about by these Islamic families who just bring in a bunch of kids and women into the voting booths and tell them what to vote. No, it used to be the sort of woman next door. You'd have a canvasser knock on the doorstep and the woman would answer and she'd go, oh, how you vote? Yeah, I'll go get my husband. So it's like, we need to debunk some of this stuff and just tell it for what it is.
I think that the stats in Western culture for non-Muslims, essentially white and Christian people, especially in the US, is single women are more likely to vote liberal. Married women are more likely to vote conservative because their husbands are more likely to vote conservative.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's really interesting.
So more proof that men should be the man of the household, head of the table.
You can die on that hill, JJ. I'll see how that goes with your partner tonight. Yeah.
Now, you've been on some of these far left protests. What's the craziest thing you've seen?
Oh my gosh. I think the craziest thing that I've seen or that has happened to me is that I'm constantly asked, are you a Jew? I'm constantly asked this.
By who?
By mostly blue, pink-haired crazies.
Really?
Yes, not by and that's the group that I've got the biggest issue with. We talk about a lot about Islam. I've got a lot of Muslim friends. It's not like that. I've got more of an issue with these rabid lefties. Got the pink hair. They're women hating, but they're women themselves. The left-wing woman is like one of the most dangerous things.
I would agree with you. I would agree with you on that 100%. Yeah. It
really is. I was called basically a Zio and bashed on the head with a sign. Zio Media, you're a Zio. And it's just crazy how that stuff's become so normalized.
Yeah.
Constantly chased out of these events. I think it's just interesting because they're so righteous. These ladies. Now there's a young.
Oh, please don't call them ladies. These are not ladies. These are just women. They're not ladies.
I haven't identified them properly. I think you're right, but it falls into two sections. The young ones who are really disenfranchised and have also been radicalized in their own way online.
Yep.
Again, goes back to foreign intervention a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But also from our own culture, we have radicalized a whole generation of women into things that they actually don't understand what they're subscribing to. It's a whole other conversation. Then you've got all these grannies that go to the left-wing protests, all these grandparents who, because the young girls are not having children, the grandparents have a lot of time on their hands. Like, I've spoken to a lot of them. I go, do you have grandkids at home? What's going on? No, none of them do, because obviously people are having kids later in life.
Yeah.
You know, these grandparents are just stuck at home twiddling their thumbs. So I think it's a very interesting dichotomy. And having been even on the protest at the weekend, both the Nakba...
Well, what protest? The Unite the Kingdom?
The Unite the Kingdom, in a journalistic capacity, obviously. I thought it was ugly on both sides.
Listen, if you want to go to Unite the Kingdom, there's no judgment here.
Well, I didn't go.
You do what you want to do on your free time.
It was not my free time. I'm not Kevin O'Sullivan. I should not go in my free time. But no, I went as a journalist just to observe, because I feel like we cover all these things. We should cover also that.
Yeah.
But I also went to the Nakba one, and what was crazy is, their hatred for Tony Blair, their hatred for Keir Starmer was cutting on both directions. So what I saw was a bunch of people that had been totally zapped into their own vortexes of algorithms.
Yeah.
The amount of misinformation that was being spouted to me as it was saccharine was just madness. I mean, you even had Nick Shirley there, who was the guy who...
Yes,
the
Leering Centre.
Yeah, early Leering Centre. He was there, and he was like, there's millions of illegal migrants coming in every year. And I'm like, that's not true, Nick.
Not true, no.
Yeah, so I
Good
think
grief.
it's... I think that everyone is rubbing their hands together on the other side of the world when they see the disarray that London is in every single weekend. And I mean, what did you think of Starmer's message that he put out beforehand?
Look, I think Starmer's a wet squid, damp squid. Is it wet squid? Damp squid. Yeah,
right.
I think that's what I think of Starmer.
Not a dead squid.
Not a dead squid. Not yet. No, and I would never condone the death of anyone.
No, not the death of him. I think just politically we're talking about.
Yeah. I think he's pretty useless, but and this is a damning indictment on our political class. He's the best we have currently.
Yeah.
Especially from the Labour side, he's the best we have currently. But I think he's useless. But I've been to pro-Palestine marches.
Yeah.
I didn't go to Unite the Kingdom this weekend because I was out of the city. But from what I've seen, stuff like there's a guy playing a cello on stage, putting bacon over his shoulders.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Treating it as if Muslims are these vampires and you've got to ward them off by putting bacon over your shoulders. That to me is that is not Unite the Kingdom. That is just Islamophobia. It's just I find that abhorrent and disgusting. Same as I had the 3 French girls come on stage wearing burqas and they ripped it off and they're like the baying mob being like boo boo and they're wearing the burqas.
Yeah.
All that kind of thing. I just think that's not that's horrible.
I found it really distasteful
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Because it wouldn't be tolerated if it was someone coming out in an Orthodox Jewish
Precisely.
outfit and going and ridiculing it.
Yeah,
and, making it into like a clown outfit.
Yeah. So I didn't like that at all. But then equally, I don't know what it is about women with dyed blue or green or pink hair and a piercing through the little septum there, with no boyfriends and a lot of time on their hands, who are advocating for men to be allowed in women's spaces. And it's like Turkey's voting for Christmas. It's like, we want men, trans women are women.
Yeah.
Then don't call them trans then if they're women. Like if genitals and boobs don't mean anything, why do trans women then want to have them? Do you know what I mean? Like the whole, I find the whole thing ludicrous.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that women are so institutionalized to be kind, to be nice, and to basically accept a lot of what is thrown at them. And I think that's how we've kind of gotten to this place, because they do believe that that's the kind, nice, virtuous position to have in society. And the other side is obviously the hateful. And, you're right. It just... both sides, as I said, both sides there was horribleness. But to be honest, like in terms of the policing, I thought that the policing was much more relaxed on the Nakba side.
That's how it appeared from the things I'd seen online as well. Some of the chants they were saying on the peaceful protest, about was it calling for Tommy Robinson to be shot in the neck?
Yeah, that was my video.
Right. So there you go. And not a single person arrested for that.
No, not at all. Yeah. Calling for him to be shot like Charlie Kirk, calling for him to be hung like Mussolini.
Yeah.
Now, again, we're making all these comparisons between the two, and we do need to look at the fact that if that was said on the other side, towards someone on the left, I mean, there would have been people in handcuffs immediately, and there would have been serious scenes there. So that's kind of a blaring example of the two-tier policing that was going on. Of course, as well, they used facial recognition for the first time, but they used it only on one side and didn't use it on the other, which they had a lot of face covering. So I think it's those type of things really do rile people up when the government decides to just put their foot down, but not put their foot down on some of the very, very hateful marches that have been going on for weekends, for years in London. Speaking of
the face coverings, you think that should be banned in public? No one should be able to cover their face?
Yeah, without question. Yeah, I think absolutely. The burqa is a very contentious topic, and while I agree with you...
Whoa, I wasn't even talking about the burqa. I was talking about the lefties.
Face covering.
Those
face covering. Yeah, I thought you were talking about the burqa.
But if you want to talk about burqas...
My mind goes straight to burqa. No, I think face coverings in general... I think we talk about societal breakdown, and I think face coverings have a lot to do with that. It seems like a really simple thing. Face coverings, but it's a big, big issue. You walk down the high street, you immediately see a face covering, and you get confronted, whether it be a sort of a teen that's wearing one just to be cool, but then that could lead into something else. It's this sense of anonymity which then gives you credence to think that you can do anything.
Yeah.
We see that with the shoplifters. And then, of course, if you're going to ban face coverings, you might then in turn have to ban the burqa.
You'd have to ban the burqa, surely.
But there are issues with that because women might be held in their houses then by the men who still want to instill that, or they might relegate themselves to the house because they don't want to go out. So it's a much deeper issue than just a blanket ban, in my opinion.
Well, they banned it in France.
They did.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have a face covering if you go into a bank. You're not supposed to. If you're wearing a motorcycle helmet, you go into a bank or government building in this country, you're supposed to take it off. You can't wear a balaclava in a bank in this country. So the burqa should be treated the same, surely.
I mean, the libertarian in me is like, don't agree with bans of any. No, because it might be banning that one day, but then it might be banning wielding your cross in the next. You just don't know what government's going to come in this country. But yeah, I agree. I think we have reached a point. Unfortunately, we've got a terror threat at a severe level right now in this country. There needs to be some sort of actual action that's being put into place. There's something like that.
I can't believe how woke you are in real life, Samara. This is mad. When we used to work together, you were never this flipping woke. Obviously I've left the building and you've changed. You've really mellowed. Yeah.
Really?
I don't want to ban anything. Everyone should do what they want to do. Yeah, smoke drugs.
guys, just take a spliff and just forget about it. That's what I say.
I want to go back to something you said earlier about when you go to the far left protests.
Yeah.
And people their first question to you is, "Are you a Jew?"
Yeah.
Like, what? I cannot believe that these so-called justice warriors and these people who are so morally above the rest of us are going to go so. Because if you turn around to them and said, "Yes, I'm Jewish," then what would their next response be?
And that's the scary part, isn't it? It's also happened to my producer, Kieran. They also asked him, "Are you a Jew?" So I guess it's not just targeted towards me, but you're right. It's not acceptable at all. I mean, if I was to go around asking people, "Are you a Muslim?" on one of these marches, I mean, I'd be absolutely vilified, and I wouldn't do that. Like, you just don't go and do that. And that's what I talk about when, it's become so normalized to be a Jew hater, especially in central London, where it's just a normal comment to make. And it's obviously what they see on their social media, Benjamin Netanyahu is controlling everything. The Jews control the world. Yeah, I've got Jewish heritage, but I just tried to I try always to just not answer because you're right, JJ. I'm super scared of what the reaction would be. I mean, we've seen the litany of terrorist attacks even in the past month against Jewish people. The Nova Festival having their exhibition and them not even being able to share the location because they are scared of an attack on that. So I think we've reached a boiling point here where, unfortunately, because it's been so allowed to run rife. I mean, you got Sadiq Khan who comes and says after the weekend of craziness and debauchery that Islamophobia is the main issue. But he's never come out that hard on anti-Semitism in my mind. Yeah. So, it's a big, big problem, but that could be a whole other podcast, couldn't it?
well, let's touch on it. I mean, there's 300,000-ish Jews in the UK. And I think 40% of anti-Semitic attacks on Jews happen in London as opposed to the rest of the country, which kind of skews the statistics on it, because statistically across the whole country, I think last year anti-Semitism attacks were down 18%, but that didn't include the Met Police, where 40% of all anti-Semitism takes place. But with such a small number of Jews in the country, why do you think it is that so many people, and I don't think it's a majority of people, I think there's a small amount of people who are ignorant, but why are there so many people who believe these dated stereotypical tropes about Jews, and why they think they control the media, why they think that they're to blame for the world's ills?
Well, look, Jewish people have been hated since the beginning of time, unfortunately.
Yeah,
just think about tropes like in Merchant of Venice, Shylock, etc. So it's quite dark, but it's not just Netanyahu that is the issue here. I think he does play a part in it. But also, you don't go and see Americans getting attacked on the street because people hate Trump.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's very much anti-Semitism has always been there, will always be there until there's a real crackdown on it. But you're right. I mean, where does it come from? It comes from, when we look at 20 foiled terrorist attacks, in just this year that were Iranian-backed.
Yeah.
Some of those terrorists coming over on small boats, them having to foil them, and also the man who attacked the Israeli embassy, him also being an asylum seeker as well. They're trying to embed this within the British society in order to cause disruption in the first place.
Who is they? Putin, China, and Iran?
I know I sound tinfoil hat when I'm talking about this, but there's a
little bit.
Producer can go, your producer can go, no, I mean, it's disruptive in a good way. They want people to be polarized. They really do. But when I'm talking about I'm talking about collective cabal of people, I think. But don't get me wrong, the hostile states obviously want this, and they find good channels like getting across on small boat. I'm not saying all small boat migrants are like that, but they use the holes in that system in order to embed those people in, there is the whole sleeper cell thing. There are thousands of sleeper cells. That's according to, MI5, MI6, in order to perpetuate this. Even the guy who went and stabbed 2 Jewish people just a couple weeks ago in Golders Green, there was an Iranian-backed terror group that claimed that. So, we need to look at the wider picture when we're looking at things. But I also think when you've got a general hatred towards Jewish people, all those marches are just 1 degree away from someone doing something absolutely ridiculous and silly.
Yeah. Well, funny. I say funny. It's not funny at all, actually. But I went on 3 pro-Palestine marches with Uncle Kev. Kevin O'Sullivan.
Yeah,
Uncle
he
Kev.
loves a march, doesn't he?
He loves a march. But what I like of Kev is he goes to both sides. He likes to go and see both sides of it. So we went to a few pro-Palestine marches, and I was shocked, how the majority of people on those marches were white people.
Yes. Yeah. That's really important to point out.
The majority of people on those marches were white people. They sounded middle class to me. I'm just a little rough council kid. These people sounded middle class to me. They were wearing Berghaus
They got all
jackets
the merch.
And stuff. They got all the merch. Yeah.
It's the merch.
Yeah. I would see some people with the green Hamas bandanas on.
Right.
And I even saw some kids with their family, and they were wearing the green headbands for Hamas. And me and Kev were looking at this and thinking, how the hell can they be allowed to walk through central London like this?
Yeah.
And the police walk past the police, and the police are doing nothing. These people are literally wearing the merchandise of a terrorist group, and nothing's happening to them.
And this is the issue, isn't it, JJ? This is where it goes wrong, because that's when it should be cracked down on.
Yeah.
And that's when it isn't. And then it's allowed to absolutely run rife. I mean, one of my other videos that I did was when I found this guy who was wielding a jihad flag in the middle of Trafalgar Square. Massive one. Like, we're talking about 2-meter jihad flag.
Yeah.
That he was just sort of going around and waving. And when I went up to him and said, "Why are you waving this around?" he didn't even know that it was a jihad flag. He said like this, yes. And he didn't even really know what it, what was done under that flag, for example, done to some Brits.
Yeah.
Done to, it's a real flag of hatred. And again, he did that going past 20 police officers, and they didn't do anything about it. But obviously, then you see Starmer saying that this is, it's basically his D-Day, this event of the past weekend, and he's going to crack down on it. And I agree in some regard, like that needed to have policing, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I don't understand when you can't crack down on a jihad flag, when you then can crack down on other elements.
Well, we're just down on flags because James Cleverly was going off last week saying, Reform Essex Council have taken down the Ukrainian flag as their first act. How this is what you people have voted for. And I read that and I thought, yeah, good. Why is a local council flying the Ukraine flag? The only flag that should be flying on local council buildings is the Union flag and the St. George flag. As far as I'm concerned, that's it. If you're going to fly the Ukraine flag, okay, you've got to fly the Nigerian flag because Nigerians are being murdered in that country too.
Yeah.
Fly the Sudanese flag as well. The DRC flag. There's something like 124 conflicts going on at the moment in the world. You're going to fly all those flags as well?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Also, where are the marches for those conflicts?
Exactly.
Anyway, which is a whole other thing. But yeah, where I stand on flags, yeah, fly them freely as long as it's not a jihad flag. But in terms of councils and everything like that, no, I totally agree with you. The Conservatives keep going down this strange path of focusing on things that they think will matter to the British public, but don't. I mean, when you see Kemi at the dispatch box the other day, focusing in on Starmer allegedly lifting some of the sanctions off Russia and making oil cheaper so that people can go on their holidays. Kemi thought that this was her sort of hill to die on and that she would totally skewer him with that. Well, it turns out the public actually doesn't care that much as long as they can go on their holidays cheaply.
Indeed.
And I think that goes back to the flag thing too. Ukraine is something that we've given a lot of money to, a lot of taxpayer money to. It's the Conservatives who said that, people should be a bit cold this winter so that we can help Ukraine. Well, I think the country's had enough of that. I think we're now a bit cold this winter and we're wondering where all the cash has gone into the front lines, but also into the pockets of Ukrainian oligarchs as well, a lot of them. And it's really, really interesting how Ukraine's also gone on the back burner. But I think it should be taken down. There should be kind of, I guess, a blanket rule then, know. And Reform's been pretty good at enacting that. They've just said, it's going to be St. George's or the British flag and Union Jack, and that's it.
So you're an Aussie. You guys stopped the boats.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Operation Sovereign Borders.
Yeah. So what advice do you give to Starmer to stop our boats? Surely it's easy. You live on an island. Surely it's easier to stop people crossing the border than...
Isn't this an island too?
Yeah. It is. So surely it should be easy.
It should be easy, but it's not. I think people forget that Tony Abbott at the time, who was the Prime Minister, he was vilified. Like, he was absolutely dragged through the mud. He was basically pictured by the media as the devil incarnate.
Wow.
All the human rights are going to be stripped away. You're not going to be able to do anything. Look at what he's doing. Look at how he's processing people. Well, the boat stopped in 1 week under his Operation Sovereign Borders. Yeah, and we had a massive issue too. And I think that even though now that's his legacy and Tony Abbott, and he's been proven right in the way that he was doing it, at the time it was really, really a horrible thing to do in the public's view. And I think that's where leaders have been weak in the past, because they know that if they do start to put really, really strong factors down, which is what Tony Abbott did, was if you try to make it to Australia on a small boat, you are not stepping foot on this country, even if you're an asylum seeker or not, and it's not going to happen for you. And that was a very, very tough thing to do for him politically, and he suffered but then the country did not. And I think what's been good is that it's really helped with community cohesion, because when you're in Australia, you're not questioning anyone's immigration status. Not that you really should do that, but I think there's so much vagary in Britain at the moment about people, and you've got the police withholding information from the public about certain things. We don't have those issues now in Australia, because we know when a story breaks out that everything is somewhat above board, and there's not stuff that we should riot about. And I think that's the more long-term strategy for community cohesion that Australia is thinking about, and that Britain, I guess, has lost along the way. Would I give advice to Starmer? I don't think he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. We've just had some really interesting statistics that have come out about net migration being at an all-time low under Shabana. I mean, what are your thoughts on Shabana?
I think she's great. She's saying the right things. I don't think she can do what she wants to do because our government are far too left, unfortunately. But I did hear about Australia that people were actually trying to get on small boats to leave Australia.
That would be
it's
me.
A proper little crappy place, apparently.
Are you joking? It's a utopia.
I'm joking.
Do you know why net migration is down? Because majority of Brits are coming to Australia. That's what's going on, JJ.
Right, we're going to end with a quick fire round. I'll say a name.
Oh my gosh.
You just tell me what you think of this person.
Oh.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Kevin O'Sullivan.
Loyal.
Prince Harry.
Whinger.
Meghan Markle.
Fake.
King Charles.
Chubby fingers. That's two.
Keir Starmer.
Legacy. Lawyer.
Ayatollah Khamenei.
Dead.
Donald Trump.
TV star.
Nigel Farage.
Charismatic.
Zach Polanski.
Actor.
And Daily Expresso.
Brilliant. The best ever podcast. There's more words than that. But I really do enjoy this podcast. So thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you for joining us, Samara. Thank you so much for coming in.
Much appreciated.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that very special episode. Like, share, subscribe, hit the hype button. If you listen to us on Spotify, give us a 5-star review. And also, don't forget to check out our other page, Daily Expresso Clips. You can just see more of this and more exclusive bits that you won't see on this channel. Thank you and bye-bye.